a guy called Dean, I won't give his surname here, he might not want me to give his surname, so I'll just, give you his first name. A guy called Dean emailed me a couple of days ago, so shout out to Dean for the email. And I'm going to read the email out. The email says, just saw an interesting video on Box Nation today, an interview with Billy Joe Saunders talking about the Canelo Triple G fight. Thought his opinion that Canelo looked a bit overcooked for the fight was interesting. Thought perhaps you could do a video about your thoughts on this view. I have not really had time to watch too much of the build-up, but maybe you have. Cheers. So thank you to Dean for sending me this email and asking me this question. I've had a look at the video, and indeed, Billy Joe Saunders seems to believe that Canelo looks a bit overtrained, could possibly have an injury. He just thinks that Canelo's not going to show up for the fight and he won't be himself. My take on it is this. I've watched a hell of a lot of Canelo training footage over the past few years, and I've always felt for a long time that Canelo looks overtrained in a lot of the footage I've seen for many of his fights, because I see him on the bag, particularly as fights get closer. I see him on the bag and on the pads, and there seems to be nothing there. There has been a few fights, I think maybe before the Liam Smith fight, before the Kirkland fight maybe, where he looked electric, even close to the fight. But many of the fights that I watched Canelo, he looked drained, tired, lacking in energy, right up until a week or so before a lot of his fights. So to me, I'm not particularly alarmed because I've seen Canelo in that situation or in that condition before. So I'm not especially alarmed. And I think that Canelo and his team know Canelo's body by now. They know when he's overtraining. They know when he needs a rest. They know what they're doing. So that footage that Billy Joe looked at where Canelo was like, nah, you know what, I've had enough. Maybe that was Canelo taking a rest and saying, look, I'm not going to push my body too much here because I'm a little drained. I need maybe a while to recoup. We're going to have an easier training day today. I think by now Canelo knows his body well enough to know what he needs to do to be in the best shape. Now, I can understand that some people are looking at it like, well, Canelo knows that he's in the most dangerous fight of his career. Maybe fear is motivating him to push his body beyond the limits. But again, he and his team have to be aware. They must be aware. They're professionals. They're experienced. They have to be aware that pushing him too hard could take the fight out of him, and he'll turn up to the fight without the necessary energy levels. So it's possible that he could overtrain. I can understand Billy Joe's viewpoint, but I tend to lean towards the possibility that Canelo and his team are too experienced to allow themselves to overtrain for this particular fight. I think they know what they're doing by now, and they know the routine that they have to go through. So those are my views on it. But overtraining, as I've said in previous videos, is a very, very real thing. And it can affect fighters very negatively. And it can make the difference between winning and losing a fight. No question about it. But in this particular instance, again, because I've seen Canelo look lethargic and tired, in training in the build-up to fights before, I'm not particularly concerned this time, because leading up to those fights when he looked lethargic, he got in the ring and he did the business. So, yeah. Those are my thoughts. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And once again, shout out to Dean for the email. All right? It's happening. I'm out.